The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And welcome in, everybody, to a wonderful Thursday episode of Running Point, and it is the first day of August. Welcome into a new month. Anthony Hartwig here with you, like always, bringing in Running Point for you, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the top right-hand corner so you know where to go if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle. Greenwood Chevrolet will go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we strive to follow our sponsors' lead. And we thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their sponsorship every day very heartily. We couldn't do the things that we do on YSN without our wonderful sponsors like Greenwood, whether it be their player profiles, coaches' corners, live games, shows like Power Hour and Running Point. Power Hour coming back on Monday, by the way, from 3 to 4 with DJ Oakley, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Couldn't do all the wonderful things that we do without the wonderful sponsors we have, Greenwood Chevrolet being one of them, and that we thank every day. We have a great show for you today. We're going to recap the softball action from yesterday, the Junior League softball. We have our Steel Valley All-Stars team finishing out pool play and getting ready for the bracket play coming up. They had a great finish to pool play. They went 2-0 yesterday in a doubleheader thanks to the weather that hit on Monday. They had to play 2 games in one day, but did not get phased by it one bit. Excuse me there. So let's talk about these games that went down for the Steel Valley All-Stars Little League, which once again, if you're just new to their coverage, involves players from Canfield, Boardman, Poland, and Struthers, all representing the Youngstown area down at the Junior League World Series. They got 2 wins in pool play yesterday. They're 3-1 at the end of pool play. And in the first game, they were able to win over Latin America. 6-0 was the final score. Gia Verona, another stellar day in the circle for her against Latin America. She threw 7 shutout innings, giving up just 1 hit again, striking out 12. And she also hit a leadoff home run in the second inning. So that's the second day in a row, actually, that Gia Verona had not only a great pitching performance, but also a home run at the plate. So talk about a stellar tournament that Gia is having. That is a name that you're going to hear for a long time, I think. I think you're going to keep hearing it consistently as the years goes on. Gia Verona has just been total lockdown in this tournament. 10 hits on the day for Steel Valley All-Stars. Emma Bocherry and Sydney McDonald also had big hits and RBIs. Brooklyn Cusco added a double to the offensive effort, so 10 hits and a bunch of offensive contributions in the first game in that 6-0 win over Latin America. And then they came out in the second game, and the Steel Valley All-Stars were able to beat West Virginia 15-5. The final score there, 12 hits on the day for this one. Mackenzie Moore had a big day. She had 3 hits, including a double. Ali Blinsky had 2 hits and a double as well, and the triple, driving in 2 runs. And Gianna Zerpo had 2 base hits as well for the Steel Valley All-Stars. Justice Paris got the start in the second game. She went with 2 doubles, picked up the win in the circle. Paris went 6 innings with 5 hits and struck out 11. So you look at the combined strikeouts from Verona and Paris. That is in 2 games, 23 combined strikeouts by this Steel Valley All-Stars pitching staff. We know how good pitching is in the area, right? Like when we look at the high school level, once again, not going anywhere. We're looking at Mila Hamley, who's just about to start her World Series on Sunday in the Little League division. And Gia Verona and Justice Paris both putting on a show in the Junior League division, which is just 1 tick higher than Little League. These are 14U, so you'll have to not wait even the wait is even shorter, I should say, for them to get into the high school ranks. So now Steel Valley All-Stars is going to be the 2nd seed in bracket play. This will start the elimination round of the tournament. They will start that today at, let's see, the time for their start is going to be 6:30. They will play Arizona at 6:30 on ESPN Plus today. So this is when the rubber meets the road. This is when everything that you've played in pool play comes together for the bracket play. But if Steel Valley All-Stars plays and pitches, especially the way they have been, they're going to be really hard to beat. Gia Verona, the last 2 days in back-to-back games, locked down as you can be. 10 strikeouts in Tuesday's win, 12 strikeouts yesterday, I should say, in their first win of the day. Probably the only reason that they didn't just roll with her is it was a doubleheader and they knew bracket play was coming. But Justice Paris, a really good performance from her in the circle too. When you pitch well, you can win a lot of softball games. There's a breaking news story right there. Headline right above the jump, right? Like anyone doesn't know that. If you pitch well, you're going to win a lot of games. And this Steel Valley All-Star team, pitching well and hitting well. They've seen to really bounce back from the first game of the tournament when they lost. That would really be a blow for a lot of teams to show up there, have all this energy, be ready to go, trying to win a Little League, Junior League World Series, and then lose the first game out of the gate. That would take a lot of wind at a lot of people's sails. But I think everyone on that team kind of took a breath. They had a Monday off because of the rain. So they were able to just kind of lock back in, refocus, recalibrate, and look what they're doing since then. The 3 games they've played, winning all 3 in demanding fashion, commanding fashion, dominating their way through these wins. Offense is looking really good. You get hits everywhere. No holes in the lineup. The pitching looks really good. Gia Verona's pitching well. Justice Paris is a good, sit number 2. You have offense in every category. Gia Verona's also hitting well, 2 home runs in back-to-back days. You have players like Imabo Cherry and Ali Blinsky who are both hitting really, really well and consistently. McDonald's hitting consistently. She had big days in both big games in both days. Tongue-tied today. Just really, I think the future for this team in the next couple of days is very bright. They have a chance to go into this bracket as a 2 seed and really make some noise. I'm excited to watch them tonight. 6:30 is your start time. Once again, ESPN Plus is where you can watch that. Here's a little tip too. If you don't want to subscribe to ESPN Plus, but you are subscribed to Hulu with live TV, ESPN Plus is included in that package. So that's something I learned about. I was subscribed to them both, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm paying double for the same thing. The only thing you would get if you kept your ESPN Plus subscription, if you have Hulu Live TV, is you'd be able to watch the replays of ESPN Plus games, which I know is a pretty good tool. But when you can tape stuff on Hulu, you don't really need that either. So if you have a subscription to Hulu Live TV, don't waste your money with an ESPN Plus subscription because it is included in that package. Uh, don't make my mistakes, right? Don't make Anthony's mistakes about paying an extra $8 a month for something that you already have anyway. That's such an Anthony thing to do. Let's just be real. That's such a me thing to do. That's right on line, right on target with things that go wrong in my life. Right, like it's self-inflicted wounds throughout the whole, you know, buffoonery that plagues me every time. You know, you watch this show. Hey, when things go wrong or things get really weird, what's it? Oh, it's Anthony just being often some mental tangent talking about things that have nothing to do with anything. That's usually when this show goes off the rails. And that's what you kind of come for, right? You come to this podcast for a trip inside Anthony's mind. God bless you for doing it. God bless you for doing it. And doing it with me all summer too. That's been a fun ride. Next week we'll have Power Hour back, so it'll be a 2-show week. So we'll have Running Point like we always do, but we'll also have Power Hour 2 on 3 to 4 from DJ Oakley. So don't miss that. Can't wait. This is the last day of Running Point as the only show on the airways, right? So hope you've enjoyed it. For the Power Hour fans that might be watching just to have some kind of content from YSN, thank you. Stay with me hopefully through the fall and winter sports seasons, and also hop over to DJ. I know you're all excited about his show starting back up. He had a great. Want to give him a shout out for putting the night shift in yesterday. If you were not up late, I guess I should say, on YSN, Boardman had their Midnight Madness first annual event where they got all the fall sports teams together. They're all practicing at midnight as kind of a unified group. DJ was down there, got great interviews with Jeff Hamilton, got interviews with Alyssa Birch, who put this thing together, Rick Seipert. It was a great show. It was a great event. So I want to give a shout out to Boardman real quick before we move on for the rest of the show. What a great idea this was by Alyssa Birch. And I've said it before on this show, because every player profile that we've gotten from Boardman in the last 2 years has been set up by Alyssa Birch wonderfully. She is like the SID. If high schools had SIDs, she would be that for Boardman. And I've said it multiple times. If every school had an Alyssa Birch, this world would run a lot smoother and a lot better. So we want to thank her for putting this idea together. I know she wasn't alone. I know she had other people behind her that helped make this happen. But I have a strong feeling that she was a driving force, knowing Alyssa Birch and knowing what she was as a coach, and now knowing how she is as the media relations person for Boardman. Just a driving force for those players to be lifted up and spotlighted by not just us, but all the media sources. She makes sure that everyone knows exactly what's going on in Boardman, and she never lets anyone miss a big story that's going down. Like if anyone is putting together a big story, you're going to know about it immediately if you're in the media, because Alyssa Birch has you covered. So it was really cool to see her get an interview, and that's the first time she's been on YSN since she was the volleyball coach there. So a nice little tip of the hat to Alyssa Birch. Welcome back to YSN's airways. And, Rick Seipert, that was cool to see him get back on YSN as well, because he spent the spring with us as our track expert, running Wednesdays with Rick Seipert. So what a fun time. DJ did a great job with that. Make sure to go to our Facebook or our YouTube, watch that show on replay. If you weren't up all night, I'm a late bird. I was watching it live. But if you weren't, make sure to go check that out. And all the fun stuff that Boardman's putting together. The fall sports season for Boardman started yesterday too. Golf, boys and girls, both opened up their seasons yesterday. So make sure to go out to their social media pages and check out those scores as well. We are going to take a break on Running Point. When we come back, as promised on Tuesday and yesterday, we have another Living the Dream segment. I know you've been watching them all summer, and we've been having fun with this segment all summer on Running Point. This time, Cameron Jackson from Duke and Florida Atlantic. You might know her from both. She's a graduate from both schools. She'll be the featured player on Living the Dream today, and that'll come up after this commercial break on Running Point, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
And welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by those people you just heard from, Greenwood Chevrolet. You just heard what it means to them to go the extra mile for you. What it means to us to follow their lead and go the extra mile for you is to continue putting stories up about wonderful athletes in and outside of our community that help us grow as players and as people. And one of the great segments that we've been doing all summer, if you're just joining Running Point today, is called Living the Dream, which is basically a guiding tool for the great softball players we have in our community. We've just recapped, the 14 U's that are still playing in Washington in the Junior League World Series from our area: Canfield, Poland, Struthers, Boardman, Those girls are down there giving it their all in the Junior League World Series. We have Austintown 12U girls giving it their all in the Little League World Series coming up on Sunday. We've had high school state champions in this area the last 2 years. Softball right now in Northeast Ohio, and it has been for a while, so I shouldn't just say just right now, but in Northeast Ohio, it's a hotbed of talent. They all have dreams. They all have aspirations of playing softball at the next level. And one of the best ways to kind of learn what you're going to face on your path and how to achieve your dreams is to hear the people that have already walked it. Turn around and reflect on their path and say, here are some of the rocks that I stumbled on that maybe you can avoid now that you heard my story. And we've been bringing great softball players aboard this summer. I can't thank all of them enough for their time. And we've had huge names, people that have played on the biggest stages of softball, coming on talking about their journey. It's been amazing. We have a couple of more for you, and we start with Cameron Jackson from Duke. You might know her from Duke, spent 4 years there as a Blue Devil, and then as a grad in her graduate year, her extra year of eligibility, went to Florida Atlantic back home and was first team all AAC and a part of that Florida Atlantic American Conference champion team that also went to the tournament. So what a great way to end her softball career in college by being a part of all that. Cam Jackson, a great conversation with her about her career and the things that she went through. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. And here it is, without further ado. Anthony Hartwig here with another Living the Dream segment. We've been doing this all summer, talking to softball players that have achieved the dreams that, high school players that we're covering are trying to get to. And we have another one. You might know her from Duke. You might know her from FAU. You might know her as a hometown hero from Tampa Bay, but wherever you know her from, it is Cam Jackson. Thank you so much, Cam, for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So before we talk about all the fun stuff you've been able to do and the big stages you've been able to play on, I want to talk about the beginning. Every journey has a beginning, and just like everyone else, you had a beginning too. Talk about picking up the sport of softball and some of the things that made you fall in love with the sport.
Yeah, so my dad played college baseball at a JUCO college in Georgia, and I think growing up I started out at T-ball and he was the coach, and from T-ball on I played a little bit of baseball, but yeah, I started off at T-ball, and then I have a younger brother who's 2 years younger, and then he got into baseball, so I guess just playing together, and I finally transitioned to softball. But now, I think my dad had a big part of that because he was my coach all the way until probably like 16 or 17.
We know baseball and softball have their similarities, but there's a lot of differences there too. So what was it like seeing your dad kind of dive into the world of softball from the baseball perspective?
I don't know. I thought it was almost like the same thing besides like a ball, basically. I guess when you're at that young of an age, the field's the same size and everything, but I know like him and like one of my best friends' parents were the coach, and they would always have like the rule book open and reading all the rules to make sure they were doing it right.
What do you mean this girl can run at the pitcher before she hits? That's not when you think about, falling in love with the sport and some of the things that kind of got you hooked, what are some things that really made you latch on to softball?
I would say like just the friends and like all my teammates growing up. That's like all that we did. Between soccer and softball, I played with like all my friends, and most of my friends played softball. And I think I just wanted to play a team sport with all my friends. So I think that's what like made me lean towards it was, oh, my friend Natalie's doing this, so I want to go do this. And it's just like hanging out more with your friends. And then I guess you get better and better. And over time you fall in love with the game.
There's always a point when it goes from something you're just doing for fun or something that you like doing into something that like, okay, I'm good at this. I can work at this. I can make this into something I can go into college for. When do you think that transition happened for you, where you started to really hone in on your softball skills and started to really put a lot of time into it?
I would say probably around like 14. Like I said before, I played soccer and softball, and my parents were like, it's too much with like travel ball plus travel soccer. So if you want to go to college for this, you're gonna have to pick one. And I chose softball at that time, and so did my friend, and we played softball and then went to high school together and played softball. So probably around 14 is when I really was like, okay, this is serious. Like, I want to go to college and play softball.
As soon as you make that decision, the recruiting process starts, right? So
yeah, and it was crazy at my age. It was like,
right,
you could be recruited in 8th grade, and yeah.
14 seemed a little late at that time.
I know.
What was your process like? What was it like to go through and try to kind of decide what level you were at, where you wanted to go, what things you were looking for? And then we all know that you landed in Duke. So what were some things that made you want to pick that place to be your home?
Yeah. So for me, I think it was a little scary because I played like an age or like 2 ages up. So I was 16 playing 18U, or like when I was 14 playing 16U, and all my friends were committed. And one of my best friends at the time was going to Florida State, and I still wasn't committed. And then that summer I tore my ACL. So then it was just really scary. Like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to go to college. I don't know if I'm going to do this for real. But yeah, I did rehab. I played with another girl, Christina Foreman, who played at Duke and then played at Arkansas for her grad year. And we were on the same travel ball team. And I believe Coach Young at that time was at a tournament looking at her and wanting to recruit her. And I happened to be playing at the same time. And it kind of just worked that way. And then I started showing up to a bunch of camps at Duke and started like falling in love with the program. Like, I want to build the house and I want to start a program from not team 1, but team 3. So it's still really early on in a program and just like laying the foundation for more girls to come.
Yeah, for casual softball fans that don't know, I mean, Duke is a very young softball program right now. You came in the 3rd team in program history. And so I've always been curious, what was kind of the sales pitch for that? Because, you get recruited by Florida State or Tennessee or Alabama or et cetera. They'll go over the tradition. We've been winning for a long time. This is what we have been doing. We've had the same coach for a while, but then Coach Young comes up and says, we're starting something. What was what was intriguing about that and being a part of a brand new program that was trying to build the foundation of something that can be tradition based in 20 years, like those other blue bloods are?
Yeah. Well, I think one, it's like, how do you say no to Duke? Like, how do you say no to the academics? Plus you're like an athlete there. Like, that's crazy. So I think that was like step one. And then when you step on campus, it's beautiful. It's like you're in a Harry Potter movie. But yeah, I don't know. I just think Coach Young was all in, and you could show that she was so committed to a team, like not knowing how good we were going to be. And that is scary as a coach. And she took a chance on us and like a leap of faith. So I had to trust her. And I mean, it worked out. So
I'd say so. I'd say it worked out for Duke. They keep doing program first this year.
Yeah.
They first time going to the WCWS, your last year there, first time going to super regionals, all these things that they're doing to build on. So I'm wondering, you commit to Duke and then you have a couple of years before you actually sign. What kept you kind of driven? What kept you motivated now that the commitment was done and the recruitment process was over? I see a lot of girls, once they hit that commitment button, it almost is really hard to save off, taking their foot off the gas pedal because you work so hard to get to that point. Yeah. What kept you going and what kept you motivated once you already committed?
I think just doing it all your life, it wasn't really that hard for me. You wake up every day and you go work out, and then you go to practice and you go to school and do it all over again. So I think doing it at such a young age and continuing to like follow that foundation, it just made it that much easier down the road. Obviously like putting in like extra work on top of that is hard, but I think over the summer, if you really want to be that good of an athlete, I think it like takes commitment and time. And I think that's what also stands out about Duke is all the girls that go there, they're committed to excellence. And that's what it's all about.
And, the other thing about going to Duke that I love talking to, and you're going to be the second Duke player we've had on, Kelly Torres was the first player that we had on this. When you go to Duke, the excellence in the classroom is way up here. Was that ever kind of daunting for you when you were, the reality was setting in that I'm about to go to Duke? Like, I better step it up in the classroom or it's going to be a long 4 years.
Yeah, for sure. I think before I got there, you would talk to like people all around, like neighbors, and they'd be like, "You're going to Duke, like Duke University?" And you're like, "Yeah, like what?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm going." And then when you really do get there, you're in a classroom full of like 20 people max. Like, it's great how small the classroom is because you really get to know your classmates. But yeah, you're looking around and you're like scared to ask for help sometimes because they're so smart. But yeah, at first it was really scary. But there's so many support systems at Duke for athletes. It made it a lot easier. And once you do go through your first year and you make more connections with the professors, it does get easier and it's not as stressful. But yeah, it's still like, I can't believe I'm at school with these people. Like, they're going to be millionaires, billionaires, and you do think you're stupid, but you're not.
Did you get super hard classes from the jump, or did you kind of try to ease yourself into Duke education in your first semester?
Yeah, so I ended up with a degree in biology, and at Duke, they really don't want you to declare your major until your sophomore year, but I, for some reason, thought it would be a good idea to take like Chem 101 my first semester. And this was like the only classroom that I had that was big because it was like a weave out course. And so yeah, it was like me and another teammate, and we're all like, maybe we got to switch our majors. Like, what are we getting into? But it all worked out. But yeah, that was probably like really hard. Like, your freshman year, you have no idea what's going on top of like softball and stuff. So it is a lot better once you have teammates in the class with you. But yeah, I should have listened to my academic advisor and took really easy classes my freshman year.
So we'll call Kim 1 your welcome to Duke education moment. What was your welcome to college softball moment where you realized really quickly that this was a different level of softball and you were in a whole new world?
Training camp. So so you're there for the fall and you're training, obviously you're working out, and then you go home for Christmas break and you come back probably 2 weeks earlier than all the other students, and it's called like training camp, and it's probably a week or two of just softball, and it's called like, we do like 2-a-days. So you wake up early, go work out, you go practice for like 4 hours, you eat, you practice again, and then you probably eat again and then do it all over again. And it was for like 2 weeks straight, and you're like, holy crap, because there's no hours during training camp. It's just get what you need and get done, since we're not in season and school's not in or whatever. But yeah, it was a lot of running. We had a run test. It was nice because it was like team bonding a lot, because there was no other students and nothing else to do because no one was there. But yeah, training camp was pretty rough.
How fast did you get acclimated to it? Like, how fast do you think it took you to kind of get used to the schedule and the time management and the demands of being an athlete at that level?
Well, so my freshman year, Coach Young made all the freshmen come up summer A. So you go with all the other freshmen, and there's other teams like baseball, field hockey there. So you take one class of summer, and then you work out and you do like practices, but like captain practices. So they're not real practices, just here's the stadium, and the captains lead you through of, this is what we've done in the past, and let's just start doing mechanics before we get into practice. So I think that was really helpful, because although it was only one class, you're still waking up early to lift and going to a class and eating and then going to practice. So it was a lot less stressful and really chill, but you're still like starting to get on a routine, which was really nice. But I think it was still hard. It's still hard transitioning from one class to, jumping into season, you have 4 classes, and Duke before COVID didn't like allow any online classes. So you had to go to every class, and Coach Young's really big on that. She put school before softball. So if you have practice if you have class like during practice time, you better be in class. And as soon as it's done, you got to rush over to practice, get dressed, and get ready.
What was your mental approach to going into your first year of a softball player at that level too? Because we all know the game is a big jump from high school to college, especially at that level. Did you kind of prepare yourself for the failure and the jump, or did you have to acclimate to that too mentally?
Yeah, I definitely think I had to acclimate to that. I didn't think it was as mentally draining and like challenging as it was sometimes, but we did have a mental coach come in every month, I believe, and sat down with the team, and we had talks, and you could even meet like one-on-one with them if you needed, which was really helpful. But yeah, I didn't prepare at all freshman year, but the support really did help.
I'm sure every college athlete, no matter what sport they play, but especially sports like baseball and softball, where you're going to fail more than you succeed, would tell you that there is some sort of adversity that they had to get through, some point in their career, in their college career, where they had an opportunities to either quit or gas out or go to a much easier place. What was that moment for you? And then what were some things that you did to get through it, get past it, and keep going?
Yeah, so actually my senior year at Duke, I so I tore my left labrum, and that my senior year at Duke. And so I was playing through like an injury, and obviously I didn't play well that year. And the year before I was all ACC team. So I came off a really good year, and it just went like downhill. Like I didn't start. I was like trying to fight for a position. It was really challenging. And during that year I was like, I'm done. I'm not playing my COVID year. Like I don't want to go through this again. If I'm going to get surgery, I don't know if I'm going to be like as good as I was. I don't want to and I didn't want to repeat the process of sitting the bench my last year. And when I could have been doing something else, I could have, and be like enjoying college, like going to party, doing whatever I wanted. So yeah, I was not going to play at FAU at all. And then I talked to my parents, and I was just like, you know what, whatever. I'd rather regret like sitting the bench than saying like, what if I did this kind of thing. So yeah, I got the surgery over summer. I entered the portal, and I knew I wanted to come closer to home, being from Tampa. I really wanted to go to USF, but that didn't work out. And Coach Jordan at FAU reached out to me and was like, "We'd love to have you. Like, when can you come out and visit?" And I did, and I was like, you know what, this is the place for me. Like, I'm gonna give it a shot, and I did, and it worked out well. I have no regrets.
I think it worked out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
First team All AAC champions for this year. I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you look back on in that FAU season that you think to yourself, like, because this happened, besides the accolades? I mean, accolades are obvious, but what are some things that you're like, man, I am so glad that I was able to, that I did it, that I did go through that tough time, that I did push myself to go to FAU and give myself one more year of softball?
Yeah, I think it's just meeting. I think it was so crazy. Like, that was the last year of the COVID girls almost. Maybe this year if you have a 6th year, but that was like the last year. So I went to school, and there were 3 other like amazing transfers that I became best friends with: Presley, Meg, and Gabby. And I think just building a relationship with them has like been like the best thing that's happened that I was there since I was there. And it wasn't even like on the field stuff. It was like, let's go to the beach, let's go to the movie, let's go do this. And it was almost just like I was not even in school. Like, it wasn't even stressful. It was hanging out with like my best friends there. And I only knew them for not even a year at that time.
Right.
But yeah, I just say meeting them and just like having a great time at the beach. It was such a great location, and my parents were able to come to every game since it was only like a 4-hour drive. So
because of COVID, so many players like you get to go to a place for 4 years and then spend a 5th year somewhere else for 1 year. What's the mindset when going in, I'm only going to be here for 1 season? And like, do you try to still, leave a legacy at that place and say, hey, I have 1 year to kind of help this program the best way I can? How do you handle knowing beforehand that you got 1 year here?
Yeah, I think it's really hard being a transfer, especially a 5th year, going into a program and them trusting you and you trying to lead by like example. Like, you're the older one here. It's like challenging and also like scary, because you don't want to come off as like, oh, that teammate's so rude, and I don't want to cuss here, but she's being a B word, and like, you don't want to come off like that, because you're there for 1 year. You're just trying to make the team better and the program better. But I think you just have to help guide, and it is very challenging, especially coming from Duke, where one of our like core values was hold each other accountable. And if we held someone accountable, we wouldn't take it personal. But going to a new school and doing that, I think that was the most difficult part, where I found it challenging for myself to speak up and just like hold people around me accountable because of like what I said earlier, it was just you don't want to come off as that kind of teammate, But yeah, I still had the same standards as I almost like wanted to prove myself that I knew I was this good, and I knew last year was just a fluke or whatever. And yeah.
When you think about your career as a whole and things you're the most proud of that you were able to do, what things do you kind of put on that to say I'm proud that I was able to get this accomplished, whether it be a stat, whether it be an achievement, whether it be an accolade? What are some things that you think I am so proud of myself that I was able to do this?
I would say winning the ACC championship. That was our first one at Duke ever for the softball team. Hosting regionals twice, I believe, and hosting supers once. And then obviously winning. We were the first softball team, or the first American softball for FAU, because that was our first year in the American Conference. But I think just like laying the foundation, like, oh yeah, I was a part of that team when we won the first ACC, or we won the first American softball at FAU, and we were the first team to host this. And I think just moments like that.
Everyone comes on this and say, they're preparing themselves for the one day where softball is going to end. And for you, you've taken your last year at FAU and your playing career, at least. Maybe you're not over, but what do you do now that it's different now that you don't have softball as much in your life anymore? What do you do identity wise to make yourself not just a softball player?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I don't think it's like hitting me yet, or maybe it has, and I'm just not that sad about it. I don't know. It is weird because it still feels like summer, where maybe I could go back to school in a month or so and start softball all over again. But I don't know. I'm currently applying to PA school right now, so that's keeping me really busy. And I've been going to the beach a lot, so I think just keeping myself busy has got my mind away from softball and that identity piece. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not that sad for right now.
What do you think you're going to miss the most about it? Like, what do you think you're going to say, man, I can't believe that this isn't in my life anymore? And then flip side, what's something that you're like, okay, my life has had enough of that?
Definitely missing the teammates and just like spending time together outside of softball. I'm actually going on a trip with Kelly and Carol and Christina soon. So like we'll see each other like a lot, but it is a lot different than like going to each other's apartment every night and just hanging out. I think those will be like the moments I'll miss the most. And then moments I will not miss is having to wake up really early for lift and being told we have to be here, and here at this time, and delayed flights. Like traveling is the worst with big groups, and running through the airport with our suitcases and stuff. I will not miss that at all.
Yeah, you have to be so bummed that you're missing the ACC when they have to go to California now and
yeah, oh my god,
play Stanford and Cal, and so bummed, right? One of the things that we like to do at the end of this is go full circle, give one last nugget of advice, and I like to ask the athletes, what is something that now you know after your college career that you wish you knew before you stepped on campus? So what's something that you think, man, if I knew that as a freshman when I stepped on, maybe my career or my experience would have been even better?
I would say working on the mental side of softball, especially my freshman and sophomore year. I was always like, if I put in the extra work, like it's going to show, it's going to show. But I think softball is such a failure sport that people lose track of the mentality piece. And if you have confidence, well, we always say confidence is key. And if you have confidence, or you can fake your confidence, but yeah, I would say work on the mentality piece, whether it's like go see a coach for help or listen to podcasts, or I don't know, whatever you need to do. Like I know Kelly meditates, and she started doing that her senior year, and it really helped her. But yeah, I feel like if I was more confident and I worked on that throughout my freshman, sophomore year, I'd be a lot better than I was.
Shout out to the Speakeasy podcast. We'll give
Yeah.
Kelly a shameless plug right there. One of the things we also do with these interviews before we let you go is we give you the chance to take the spotlight off yourself. We've been talking about you for the last 20 minutes. Want to give you the time to kind of shine the light on your support system, the people that got you to where you are, the people you wouldn't be where you are without. So I want to give you as much time as you want to give out your thank yous and your shout outs.
Yeah, obviously I would thank my parents. Without them, I wouldn't play softball. My dad coached me for forever. My mom running me back and forth from softball practice. Obviously, Coach Young for taking a chance on me and giving me a scholarship to Duke. Coach Jordan and Coach Taylor at FAU for finding me in the portal and bringing me home to Boca. All my teammates, friends. I don't know. I'd probably have like an endless amount. Coach Bloomer at Arizona now. I don't know. We still text all the time. I think he was a great coach and just a great like person to have by your side. But yeah, teammates always being there to talk about anything, softball, non-softball stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Cam, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us and be with us, talking to us about your journey. We appreciate it so much. Wish you the best of luck or whatever your future endeavors are, and we hope that we get to talk again real soon.
Thank you.
Cameron Jackson from Duke joining us on Running Point and the newest segment of Living the Dream. What a treat that was. What a great interview. All of these have really been. We have a couple of more, like I said, that we're going to be playing next week as we still cover softball. So it'll be lining up right with the end of our softball coverage. Hopefully the Austintown 12U team goes long into that week and we're covering them for a while. But we'll have a couple of more that we've done that will be featured next week as well. So don't miss any of that. And also next week starts the full turn of fall sports coverage. We'll have season previews starting next week. We have a lot of them scheduled for next week with volleyball and football coaches. Power Hour comes back Monday through Friday on Monday. So that'll be fun as well. So our fall sports, like today is the last day of Running Point for the week. We take Fridays off in the summer. We'll be back on Monday, and that's high gear for fall sports. That's foot on the gas pedal, full throttle. Here we go. Fall sports coverage is starting. So I want to take the time to thank everyone that came along with us on this summer journey. It's always kind of, a little bit looser. We let our hair down a little bit in the summer. When fall sports comes, we're real structured. We recap all the games that happened the night before. But we were able to talk a lot this summer on Running Point, and we had great viewership. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and joining me in your lunch break on Running Point. And we'll be back on Monday. Fall sports coverage, like I said, full gear, full steam ahead. Here we go. Can't wait for it. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll be back on Monday on Running Point from 1 to 2. Until then, I'm Anthony Hartwig. Running Point always brought to you